This isn't stellar Man City performances. They're there for the taking. I feel like if Arteta came out with an attacking lineup, I reckon they could have won this game.
Arsenal against Man City finished 1-1. Kay, what did you make of the game? Because I don't think it exactly played out how a lot of us were expecting, particularly, I don't know, watching Man City, it felt very different the way they kind of approached things when they went 1-0 up.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting seeing Pep's team sort of play a low block.
Yeah.
But if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be fuming at the way Arteta set the team up to begin with. They've got so much good, creative attacking players, and to start a game without Eze playing, without Ranieri playing, and they're playing essentially two holding midfielders at home against your title rivals, I thought it was a bit weird, and that first half sort of showed that as well. Where I don't think anybody was impressed with the way they came out, and having made those two subs at half time, Arteta probably realised he'd made a mistake and he shouldn't have set up in that way as well. So
Yeah, 32.8% possession is the lowest figure any Pep Guardiola team has ever recorded in a top flight match. And it looked for so long, Wayne, like it was going to work, but it was a wonder strike in the end from Martinelli to level things. Some of the Arsenal fans are a bit frustrated, like Kay said. Do you understand why? Would you have liked to have seen them go for it more?
Yeah, I think that there's a pressure on Arteta to win something major this season, and I said it last week about Man City. I think they're different. I think Pep's trying to evolve a new team and a new, a new way of playing, if you like, and trying to be more effective. I don't think they've quite got the midfield which they once had, where they can be as expansive. So I think they are slightly changing how they're playing a little bit. But for Arsenal, I think it's difficult because Man City have got some very good players, and similar to the Liverpool game, and it's not easy to penetrate and to create big chances against the best teams. And what I will say is it's a real positive they kept going and got the equaliser late on, because it's not easy to do that, and a really good goal as well. So yeah, I think Arsenal could have won the game, but I think they'll be pleased in the end the way the game finished.
Yeah, it did feel, as Kay said, like a bit of an almost admittance from Arteta. Okay, this isn't working, and he changed it at half time. How frustrated would you be if you were Eze or Nwaneri, because they came on, they made a big impact? You must have played in games before where you've seen a manager change things early on, or a manager get things wrong and almost have to admit it within the 90 minutes.
Yeah, well, I think that's a huge strength to recognise it and change it. So I think sometimes, and not every manager in world football, you pick a team and sometimes you get it wrong. You get this, whether it's a player wrong, whether it's tactically you get it wrong, and maybe Arteta weren't anticipating the way Man City were going to play. So Man City, you prepare for something which you feel Man City will, how they will play, and when they don't, he's probably recognised that and changed it and thought, what, if they are playing a bit lower, a low block, playing a bit lower, then the likes of Eze can, he's got that bit of skill and ability to go past the player and create, might give us a better option. So yeah, I think that's a positive, that he has seen it and recognised it and changed it, and obviously they went on to get something from the game. So yeah, I think sometimes you were quick to jump at teams who draw the game at home. Them big games are the tough games, and you're trying to win a title, and they're very difficult games to, you're not going to.
I hear you, Wayne. I hear
Very
you.
rarely do you see teams go and win 2 or 3-0 in them games. They're
No, I
always
know,
very
but
tight.
if I was an Arsenal fan, like you said, the pressure's on, right? And it's early on in the season, and City aren't like firing on all cylinders early on in the season. They don't get going. They grind out the results, but they don't get going until later on, especially with them having the Club World Cup and stuff. This isn't stellar Man City performances. They're there for the taking. I feel like if Arteta came out with an attacking lineup, I reckon they could have won this game.
Yeah, well, we seen, it was a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, the Arteta done this at the Etihad as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it was a red card, or it was a late goal or something, which so we have seen it with Arteta before, and I think you have to. There's a certain element of trust in Arteta, because he has got them back to challenging for to try and win Premier League titles. I know they haven't won it, but they are challenging. They went far in the Champions League, so that's what he does in the big games. And they've won big games, they've lost big games. I still think it's a decent point. Could they have won the game? Of course they could. But in the main, going 1-0 down and then Man City playing a low block, it's very difficult to break teams down when they do that. So I think Man City have probably flipped what Arsenal done to them a few years ago, and they seen how hard that was to break down. And Man City have done that and nearly got away with it. It's very similar to the Arsenal game against Liverpool, where Arsenal went to a low block and Liverpool get the goal and win the game 1-0. If they don't, then you're saying what a good performance, what a good point. And Man City have gone there, tried to nick a 1-0 win, but failed. So yeah, I think it's a good point in the end. I think any point against Man City, even though they're not the best with some of the players they have, I think it's a good point.
Yeah, you actually said after watching, when we spoke, I remember immediately after Arsenal away at Liverpool, you were a little bit critical, and you actually said, I think it was on the last show, that actually when you reflected on it, you actually realised it was one goal or such a fine margin. They actually played really well in that game. So they're executing this game plan quite well, Arsenal. So, okay, you can say that, yes, you see why Arsenal fans are frustrated, but it kind of is paying off, is it not?
We'll see at the end of the season.
Well, the end of the season will tell us that. And Alex Ferguson used to always say to us, the big games we draw, I think there was a game we drew with Fulham away, and we've got in the dressing room, we're a bit annoyed, and the manager comes in and says that point will win us the league.